In this week's best-in-class segment, rice, can you believe it, is through the roof. That is a staple food in much of the world, and rice has been the top-performing grain since mid-March lows. And Jack Scoville is an analyst at Price Futures Group out of Chicago. And Jack, good morning to you. And, you know, very interesting to read about what's been going on with rice. Is it all about demand coming out of Asia?
Quite a bit of it is, as a matter of fact. Certainly there's always the inflows and outflows of money that move through the markets, but there is a lot of demand from Asia. Just this week, Philippines has tendered for 600,000 tons of rice, which is a lot of rice. And due to the recent typhoons over there, I think there were a series of 4 or 5 typhoons that did some severe damage to the crops, especially in northern Philippines. And so they've scheduled 2 other tenders this month for 600,000 tons apiece. That's 1.8 million tons worth of demand for the rice market, and that's a lot of demand.
Right, so tight supply and a lot of demand. But what is driving this demand coming out of the Philippines and from Indonesia and elsewhere?
Well, primarily the poor weather that they had. Everybody remembers all the typhoons, seeing it on TV. Well, that did a lot of damage to the rice crops over there. And so they've got to replace that rice, and so they're going into the world market to buy it. Philippines is traditionally the largest importer of rice around the world anyway, but this year they're going to take more than they normally do due to the damages to the rice crops, primarily on Luzon Island.
Right, and because of those tight supplies, Jack, as I read it, there's going to be other countries possibly that are going to become net importers of rice. I mean, usually they've had enough supply, but because demand is exceeding that and you're seeing there's not as many crops, like India, for instance, right, could become a net importer.
Well, they had the monsoon failure, and we've seen what they've been buying in the sugar market. They've been buying a lot of sugar. Ideas are that they're going to have to do something similar in rice, and there have been estimates that they'll need to import upwards of 3 million or 3.5 million tons of rice somewhere along the way in the coming year. To date, they haven't really done any buying yet, but they're probably going through their current harvest right now, and as soon as those stockpiles start to deplete, we do expect to see them come into the world market. In addition, China had some very wet weather during the fall during their harvest season, which has reduced their yields and cut their production. Normally they're an exporter, and it looks like this year at best they're not going to export anything, and they could import a little bit.
Okay, so it looks like the price is going to stay pretty high for now. Jack, good to talk with you. Thanks so much, Jack Scoville from Price Futures Group, talking about the record prices we've seen in rice.